So I'm at the Papplewick Pumping Station 1940s weekend, pretty much the last one of the year, to spend a day with a reenactor and find out what it's really all about. It is stupidly early and I need to keep my voice down because my mum's still asleep. But I have managed to get out of bed and put my makeup on, and now my room is an absolute state because I haven't even chosen what I'm going to wear yet. But I've got probably about 40 minutes before I need to leave. So yeah, turns out reenactors are early birds. So it's a very drizzly and rainy morning, but I think I've just arrived at the location of today's 1940s weekend. All of the military vehicles are kind of a giveaway, so I'm just waiting to meet Kieran and then I can enjoy spending the day with him. The weather is honestly so typically British. I mean, what did we even expect? Okay, so we have our instructions of where to park the car. So I'm just gonna go and park my car and then go say hi to Kieran. He said there is a car park directly opposite, and I'm rubbish at finding places, but let's see if we can. Oh, I think I see where he means. Oh, it's cobbly. Okay, I see one other solitary car, so I'm gonna shoot for next to them. Okay, we did it. We're here. Now we can go meet Kieran. I've just been asked if I wanted to camp over with them, and I really wish that I'd known that before, because I think I would have camped over. That would have been so much fun. But I'm going to just stay as late as possible and try and get a real feel for the experience. And who knows, maybe one day in the future I will camp over with the lads. But today I'm just going to try and not get in the way too much, but just try and soak up the experience with him and see what being a reenactor is really all about. Well, first panic of the day. I've just been stopped by the parking attendant, which made me panic, but he was very lovely. And he said I looked very nice, so I thought I was going to get told off, but thankfully, no. Morning! What a lovely bit of weather, eh? You're wet through. Did you camp here last night?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Kieran was to act as my guide today and show me the inner workings of what it takes to be a reenactor. Him and his colleagues had camped there overnight, but round the back of his very impressive military vehicle, he had a secret weapon to get him through a very cold and wet morning. You know, you gotta have the essentials.
Yeah.
Oh, this is brilliant. So whose truck is this?
Mine.
Wow, how long have you owned her for?
2 years.
Wow.
2 years this weekend, actually.
And how does one come about an authentic World War II military truck?
Mates that own them, really.
Wow.
So, you know friends that have them, and then they know friends, and just keep an eye out.
And of course, as I expected, I had no problems being offered a nice hot cup of tea the minute I arrived. How was the weather last night? Were you drier?
Yeah, we had a bit of drizzle last night.
Yeah.
But then over into the early hours we were alright, and then it suddenly hammered it down about 3 o'clock in the morning.
No, oh my
It's been
god.
it's been like this ever since. So.
Why is it important to authentically camp then? Do you just...
I think it's like a mindset that you sort of take on when you start reenacting.
Yeah.
Like, we've got friends that use plastic tents in the other field or take caravans and stuff like that, but since I've started I've always gone, right, I'm going to authentic camp.
Oh.
So even when we put the big tent up and things like that, like sending videos off, it's still authentic. It's all original sleeping bag, blankets, beds, everything.
Wow.
So, naturally, you can't do everything authentic.
No, but you like to keep it as authentic as possible.
But you're displaying stuff, like no one's going to come around here and see the authentic.
No.
But everything there and how we sleep and stuff is authentic.
It's just kind of echoing well, like you say, it's a mindset thing, isn't it? You're disciplining yourself, you know, to make the entire experience more of an experience, I guess, aren't you? Yeah.
And once you understand, you're never going to fully understand it, obviously, because you wasn't there.
Of course.
Once you understand roughly what it's like.
Yeah. Even just a small portion of it.
You can see people more.
Yeah.
When they ask, you sleeping, what's it like?
Yeah.
You actually tell them, you can't say, well, it was like this, being back in a caravan.
Yeah, exactly. You're actually at a B&B down the road, yeah?
Yeah.
It is cool that people can ask you, and when you say, "Oh yeah, well, you know, we camped here last night," that instantly will make people go, "Oh wow,
Yeah.
It's much more engaging, isn't it?
Yeah, like
it's living history, isn't it?
They walk into the tents and stuff, and they go, "Oh, you're just sleeping here, yeah."
Wow.
And they can't believe that they'll sleep in a tent with this sort of stuff.
I think that's great. Tell me, Kieran, what got you into reenacting?
My dad and my granddad, really, they were into the war, so we went over to Normandy a couple of times.
Wow.
Just as like family holidays, and got into it from there, watching Band of Brothers and war films, stuff like that. And then probably about 9 years ago, so I play a thing called airsoft. It's a bit like paintball.
Oh, okay,
but with BB guns. Got into World War II airsoft, so bought the kit, and then from there went into reenacting.
So it's been like 9 years that you've been doing this?
Yeah,
then?
I've been reenacting 9 years. Yeah.
Wow. And what is it about it that like you've grown to love? What is it about reenacting that keeps you coming back and camping in the rain?
Probably just like the history of it. Not only learning the history, but getting to teach the history to people.
Is authenticity important for your experience? Obviously, the stuff is got to be authentic so people can learn true history, but it's important for you as well.
Yeah, most of the stuff's original as well.
Is it? Wow.
So the tents are original.
The tents are original. Things were built to last, weren't they?
Yeah. And then you've got the social side of it, the friends you meet and stuff like that. So,
hello, George. Nice to meet you. I'm Hannah. You look great. You both look great. And you said earlier that there's like kind of a difference between reenactment and living history. What would you say is the kind of? I know it's a bit of a blurred line.
Yeah,
but...
people use living history, in my opinion. People use living history too much.
Yeah.
They go, "Oh, I'm going to a show. I'm doing living history. I'm a living historian." In reality, you're not.
Okay.
Like, to me, to be true living history, which is very rare it actually happens.
Yeah.
You turn up, you set your tent up, you display whatever, you go and take your car, and then from then on, you're living as they did. So you eat the rations, you're using the original cookers.
Oh, I see.
You're sleeping how they did.
Completely embodying.
Yeah, and you're completely immersed in it. And naturally at public shows you're never going to be perfect because you're going to go to like the beer tent and you're going to see people and things like that. So there's going to be aspects of more modern life in there.
Of course.
To me, the real difference is reenacting's more like you turn up, you dress up, then after hours you're putting your joggers back on, you're sleeping in a plastic tent, you go back to your caravan, that sort of thing. That's reenactment to me. And living history is the immersive side. So like this weekend, we're 50-50. We're living as they would during the day, we're sleeping the same way. But we've got things like the cooker. That just helps us. Like, it's a public show, we're doing it for fun and for obviously educating the public and stuff. Bit of social. There's no point going all out.
Yeah, absolutely.
In a way, without not being disrespectful to how they were back then, because we're still teaching them and educating people about it. But we need our comforts as well.
Yeah, because it's a fine line, isn't it, between like, at the end of the day, it's a public, family-friendly show.
Yeah.
So you don't want to show suffering but also the reason we're all here and the reason the 1940s was so fascinating was because of the war. So how do you get that balance between teaching the public about the tragedy of war whilst not leaving them traumatized? Because like you said, that places don't do weapons anymore sometimes and only have allied forces.
A lot of places don't have Axis, so they only have allied. And then it's not so much now, but it was when the war in Ukraine kicked off, they were banning weapons and things like that.
And it's sort of getting to the point where they didn't like Axis powers in, so there's no Germans, no Italians, nothing like that. Just allies. And then you had the point where you couldn't have weapons.
Wow.
There's no anything at all weaponry-wise weren't allowed. So
no weapons and only allies. That's very jarring, isn't it? If this is supposed to be a bit of a snapshot of history.
At the end of the day, war was war, and you're educating what happened and the people that were involved. If that means having Germans, Russians, Italians, Polish, Americans, Brits, then you have them. Exactly.
It's weird not to represent another side of war because... But I guess the political landscape, the events team panic, don't they, and don't want complaints. But the most defining moment of the 1940s was the fact that the war was on. Those young German lads, those young Russian lads, don't get that kind of representation. They were scared. They were living
They didn't do it because they wanted to. A lot of them, they were forced to do it.
Exactly. They were in the trenches. They were wearing muddy boots under a canopy with the rain pouring down just as much as we were. It paints a better picture, doesn't it? Obviously, reenactors, I think, are kind of the bread and butter of events like this because it does make it so much more immersive. But for you, what is the stuff about doing an event, like actually during the day, that you really love? Is it when the public engage with you? Is it them taking photos of your amazing military truck?
I think it's a bit of both. It's getting to show off things like the truck.
She's a beauty.
It's a piece of history.
Yeah.
But then also getting to educate people. Like, you see people online and they don't know. Like, the whole thing with banning Germans is because they don't understand. So if we can teach that...
So do you have to do a lot of research?
Oh, massive amounts. Like, me and Lucy, who's my fiancée, we went away 2 weeks ago to Spain.
Yeah.
And I took a field manual.
Wow.
she was not impressed with that, but,
No way.
but I took a field manual for reading on the plane and stuff.
Yeah.
Because if you're really into it, you go to that level. You go, you read field manuals, you do the research, you look at the pictures, and that's what allows you to create an accurate representation of what happened.
Do the venues expect you to have a high knowledge, or do they just want you to come because you look the part, or is it a bit of both?
Bit of it. It depends on the event.
Yeah.
99% of the time, it's because you look good.
Yeah,
then
that's okay.
They're not too bothered as long as it looks right.
Yeah.
Like you've not got plastic tents on an authentic display.
Yeah.
But they don't know if your kit's correct or if your tent's 100% correct.
Yeah.
So they're not too bothered.
They're kind of relying on your passion to know that stuff, aren't they? Yeah.
But certain places, like, they're very much 100% got to be perfect, top standard, because of the type of event it is and who it's ran by.
And are there downsides to reenacting? Are there anything about reenacting that you don't love so much?
As much as it helps, social media.
Okay, interesting.
I think it allows people to think they're better than what they are.
Yeah.
Think they've got something about them, sort of show off in a way, and they do it for the wrong reasons. They go, well, I've got an Instagram, I've got a Facebook, I'm going to show off what I've got.
Yeah.
But they don't actually turn up to an event and teach them.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
Like the integrity of like the authentic reason for being here kind of gets drowned in, if I post this photo of me sitting on a plane, how cool will that look?
Yeah.
Yeah.
As opposed to, like, this weekend, I've been here since 2 o'clock yesterday.
Yeah.
And I've taken 2 pictures.
That's,
but we don't do it for the pictures.
No, of course.
Like, it's great. Like, I'll probably say to someone, can you take a picture of me and George on the display or something like that.
Yeah.
But that's just mainly for, it's like our memories of, we did that show this year.
Yeah.
That's what you're doing it for. You're remembering, like, we're doing American, we've got the truck. It's remembering the people that drove the trucks and what they did day in, day out to feed the troops and to bring supplies. Whereas somebody else doing infantry, it's to remember what they did, sacrificing their life as part of the infantry and so on and so on. So as much as we look cool, you've got a cool truck, get some pictures of it, it's mainly about remembrance and commemoration and education and those sort of things.
Tell me you get treated nicely.
Depends on the event, really. It really does. Like here, like on a Saturday night, I don't know, I'm pretty sure they do it this year. They come around with baked potatoes because they've got the furnaces for the pumping station.
Oh yeah.
So they put baked
shove a few potatoes on there.
They come round, drop them off, put like 4-pack of beer for you.
Yeah.
And it's just something that they give back to you, and
that's
the
really
organisers are nice. You go to some shows, mainly the bigger ones.
Yeah.
And it's like you're just a number. If you say I want this, they'll say no, and if you say, well, I'm not coming, then they go, not bothered.
Because you're like maybe more expendable because there might be more reenactors at that particular event. Yeah, that's rubbish.
When in reality, like, you still wouldn't have that show.
Yeah.
With that off.
Yeah. Do you do this out of the goodness of your heart, as in for free? Wow, that's amazing.
I think there was somewhere though.
We have been
so your compensation is the love of it and hopefully a baked potato once in a while.
Yeah.
So some gigs will pay, some gigs won't.
It depends.
There's something like your fuel allowance and things, won't
yeah,
there?
sometimes.
Yeah.
One of them where it's hard to say who do you pay and who do you not pay.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
Because you could turn around and pay all, but then them on the end might be like, well, why are you paying that?
Yeah, of course.
We've got
the running costs, the storage costs.
Yeah.
Like they're using their normal everyday cars.
Yeah.
We're not.
Exactly. And it must be quite the task to, you know, get her ready for the road
Yeah,
and coming
well, it's
here.
like-
I mean, plus you got some events now. I mean, not a lot of them now bound, but there were some at one point where they're actually charging us to come in.
So if you turned up with us as a group member,
Yeah.
you pay 25, George pays 25, I pay 25. If you had a Jeep,
Yeah.
it was 125.
So they're charging you to add to the experience of their event.
Making money.
Do you think that's why? Because 40s events have always been, you know, very popular. They continue to draw in the crowds all these many decades later of the war ending. Do you think that's why? Do you think, I mean, why do you think 40s events draw in the public? Do people want to learn? Do they just think it's a cool experience to kick it old school? What do you think?
It's hard to say. I think it's the same with anything, really. Like if you said, oh, there's a 60s show on, or there's a steam rally on, or there's this, that, and the other. I think it just attracts people in general. Like it gives them something to go to. It gives them something to go and look at.
Yeah.
And sometimes it can connect people if they've had family members. Like
Yeah,
for
that's
us,
true.
like we've had people come to us and go, oh, my great granddad was in the 82nd and he married a British woman.
Wow.
And showed us all these pictures and
Yeah.
stuff. So sometimes it's a connection for people, and then other times it's just a family day out, there's something on, and then it's also interesting for them.
Yeah, because it's a fine line, isn't it, with respecting history and keeping history alive. But obviously, like you said, social media. I mean, I've been accused by people that, you know, I'm romanticising the 40s. Do you think an event like this, we have to be careful not to romanticise this period too much, but we also don't want to leave the kids traumatised when they leave, do we?
Yeah, it's a fine balance, and I do think in the 40s scene, so to speak, there is a lot of people that, like, say, make it what it wasn't.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Especially what we call promenaders. So you've got like your reenactors, living historians like us that are here all weekend.
Yeah.
Then you have like promenaders. They come for the day. They walk around in uniform,
in the garb,
in the garments, and look fancy. And without calling those people out, 9 times out of 10, they're the ones that are making it like a fantasy.
Yeah.
They've got full face makeup. They've got the nicest dress they can possibly get, with all the brooches and this, that, and the other.
Yeah.
And it's very much like making it look like a glamour era. When
almost gimmicky.
And it wasn't. And not enough people actually portray it for what it was. They don't portray your everyday workman. They don't portray your everyday woman that was in the factory or at home looking after the kids, or
the unglamorous side.
Yeah. Like say social media can have an impact on that. People dressing up to the max, posting pictures. Oh, the 40s was great, look at it.
Yeah.
Oh no, it wasn't.
It was not at all.
Especially in this country. Like in America maybe it was better, but somewhere like here it wasn't that great. It's that fine balance, and I think there does need to be a lot of more education and research and teaching into what it was actually like, and not what we want to portray it as.
Yeah, exactly. Just to acknowledge, I suppose, that, because it's that fine line, isn't it? If we don't keep talking about history, we're liable to repeat it. But the further away history gets, the more blurred people see it as. But it feels like with the reenactors, at the heart of everything you do is integrity.
Yeah.
You really are here because you love it.
Yeah.
I mean, you're soaked.
Yeah.
You're soaked through to the skin. So George with his letters in his hat, you know, that's just that attention to detail most people won't even see.
And again, it's not calling people out, calling groups out, but not enough groups and not enough people go to that detail. Like we've done shows where I've actually organised it myself. I've gone out to family members of people in the group to write a letter to give to them at a show, and they don't even know about it.
Oh wow!
So we've like
attention to detail.
So we've called the group together and gone mail call, got an original mailbag, whipped out letters, and they're like, "What's this?" And they're reading it. And it's like, it's from his wife, it's from his girlfriend, it's from his mum. So it's like, it's that attention to detail.
Yeah.
And if the public see that, it's an immersive detail for them, they go, wow.
Yeah, and done with such respect.
Yeah.
Because let's face it, we're never going to know, are we? Because we just physically weren't alive then. But we can.
You're going off research, off pictures, off what veterans have said down the line through interviews and books and things like that, and you can build a picture.
Yeah, as the 40s gets further away.
Yeah.
Because I don't know if it's because I'm in the community, but particularly 40s weekends feel like a real event in the United Kingdom. Like everyone loves whipping out the bunting at any given moment, don't they? But do you think as life progresses, they'll be as popular as the 40s themselves gets further away and grandparents and great-grandparents aren't here anymore? It's
difficult to say. I think it's down to the people that do it, like say the community, to keep doing it.
Yeah.
But I think it's the same with any era, like World War One. That's 100 years ago.
Yes,
that's now getting to that stage that the 40s is almost at.
Yes.
But people still do World War One
reenactment
and they still teach it.
That's very true.
People still do Civil War and redcoats and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
So I think it would still carry on. Maybe in a few years' time it'll decrease, but it'll still carry on. And it's things like the vehicles.
Yeah.
People have got to keep the vehicles going. How long have we got spares for? Because
true.
For things like this, there's not many reproduction parts. It's all new old stock, original 40s stuff, or what like the Norwegian Army were using, because they use these trucks afterwards.
Yeah. So basically, this kind of event carrying on is on the backbone of the people that love people like you that will keep it alive. Because I'm very big into revivalism, and I think that's pretty much the same for anything that is, kind of gotten lost in time. The reason that it's still like you said, like steam railway and stuff like that, the reason it continues is because of the love of the people doing it, isn't it?
The people that run and operate these things absolutely love it. But as long as there's a group of people there that do the 40s thing and do the reenactment, have the vehicles, I think it'll always happen in some form.
Is he a natural or what? We're getting our priorities straight with a cup of tea.
Another.
Because obviously I've just arrived and I'm already exhausted, so...
I really thought they had a hard lifestyle, but I find out it's got a small kitchen in the back of his vehicle.
Yeah, exactly. Fraud! That was a raindrop in your tea. And then George showed me his personalised dog tags that he'd had made specially for reenacting.
Yeah.
Oh, that's chillingly... it's those little details that get me. They're the bits that make my knees go a bit weak, where you're thinking, "Oh, blimey, I can't even imagine."
And then he told me about his amazing grandmother Iris, who used a parachute to fashion silk-like undergarments for all the ladies in her town.
That's your grandma?
Yeah.
Iris.
I was right.
Iris Wright, you hero. I love that she just donned all the ladies in the street, kitted them out with underwear from a parachute. What a hero.
Things are kind of kicking off now. As we wait for the general public to arrive. I've decided to tuck my hair into my hat because the rain is just destroying it. So, I'm just going to hang out with the boys and wait for the public to arrive. And so I took a moment to myself and also to warm up a little bit with a very lovely hot chocolate, followed by a hearty bacon sandwich because the hunger pangs were panging. Before meeting this amazing little reenactor whose name is Trigger, but they're posing as an anti-tank dog, and if you don't want to upset yourself, then I wouldn't Google it.
Hello. Did you sometimes blow up your own team by accident? Oh, you were trying to be a good dog though, weren't you? Oh, you're so sweet, Trigger. You're so sweet, Trigger. Oh, good baby. Oh, good baby.
Is it too much to say they want the nice bits of the 1940s, which feels so weird to say, but would you say?
I would. I think history is always written by the victors.
Yeah.
And I believe, we all believe really, that history of every nation deserves to be told, whether they're on the winning side or the losing side.
It was everybody's war.
There's this thing that's been coined in recent decades of the Blitz spirit. It never existed. It's not true. The Blitz spirit being that everyone pulled together, everyone was happy, everyone just got on with it.
Camaraderie and all that, you mean?
And it's this thing that we sort of created for ourselves, that we just carry on, chin up.
Yeah.
The British spirit.
Yeah. Can't carry on.
Yeah.
That never happened.
There was a series of posters that were created during the war, and Keep Calm and Carry On was one of them. It wasn't actually published during the war, but they put it out and then they did a public survey on it and they found it to be really, people were like, oh, that's all right. Yeah, it's really sarcastic.
Yes.
Or it's really demeaning. Of course, we're doing our best. So they cancelled the other two, and Keep Calm and Carry On was actually one of them. I like to compare it to COVID.
Yeah.
That everyone struggled through COVID, whether they were ill, whether they knew somebody that was ill, whether their work was disturbed, worried about family members. It was rubbish. It was a tough time. It was, but everyone kept talking about bliss spirit or power through, which we know didn't exist. But I would imagine in 50 years' time, people will look back and go, "Oh, wasn't it good? Wasn't it? Oh, it was a fabulous time. Everyone pulled together.
The world stopped and pulled together, and all this.
There was issues with getting, groceries at the store because people who could bought
Pasta
up what
and
they
toilet
could.
roll and rice.
It happens. People don't change.
Yeah.
Human nature stays the same.
Yeah.
And I think it's often when people look back at history to a time that they did personally, it's sometimes easy to forget that it was tough.
Do you think that's a defence mechanism that we do to ourselves, and maybe the government does a little bit just to...
We got past it and then cocoon the sort of rose-tinted glasses around it. So let's look at the best side of it. What did we actually enjoy?
And to be honest, even talking to you today has opened my eyes a lot, because sometimes I can fall victim to that idea of that make, do and mend spirit and sort of thing. And because a lot of the community I'm surrounded by are other enthusiastic vintage content creators, they are usually portraying the rosy side. They want to show their barrelware, as they make breakfast. So you kind of get lost in it, and you only have moments like this where it kind of brings you back to reality, and you go, no, wait, actually, let's just look at this for what it was.
Ellen, you made very good points before about the fashion. Not everything was victory rolls and sundresses.
Yes, yeah. I think the fashion people do have a very warped view of it. And like you said, things in media sometimes don't help things that are popular. We talk about the Peaky Blinders trend. I think people have this idea that it was very glamorous, glamorous against the face of adversity, but actually what they were wearing was very, it was glamorous, but it wasn't. I mean, it's like what you and me are wearing. It's not overstated, is it? It's not overstated. It's kind of bizarre, isn't it, that this event is about, the reason they're so popular, I think, is revivalism. A weird sense of nostalgia people get for this year. Revisionism, yeah. Obviously, I'm hoping a good dollop of remembrance, but actually the undercurrent is so harrowing. Why do you think these events are good? Do you think they're a positive thing? Do you think that they're not harm?
Yeah.
They can be, yeah. Do you think they're ever harmful to listen?
No, I wouldn't say they're harmful to
Not why you guys are at the heart of it.
And as I watch one of the poignant shows held by the reenactors, I walked around this event and realised just how much there was to see, before my boyfriend and Kieran got locked into a conversation about classic cars. Naturally. But what I really enjoyed witnessing was the aftermath as members of the public started to head home in the dusky evening. People at the event started to pack everything up, and then the reenactors all sat together with their free beers to talk about how the day had gone. George and Keiran settled into another evening under the stars, and I reflected with them on the passion of these individuals and how their sheer dedication is helping to keep history alive. And yes, there are some challenges along the way. Bumps in the road in the form of social media being a bigger information sharer than any other internet resource, our current political climate informing which parts of history that we keep alive, and the showboating of cherry-picked moments in history. But at its heart, events like these bring people together and give us a moment of reflection away from fast-paced modern life, and help us understand the incredible everyday lives of our ancestors, so that we are reminded to be grateful for being alive today and everything that we have.